Sometimes it feels like the hardest part of life isn't dealing with what's happening around us, but learning how to deal with what's happening inside our own heads. Too often we believe the very first thoughts that show up, as if they were verdicts carved in stone. A thought appears, and we accept it as truth, even if it sounds completely insane. I lived like that too. I believed every negative phrase that flashed through my mind: you're weak, you won't make it, you're not good enough. And those words, no matter how quietly they whispered, controlled my entire life. But one day, after years of doubt, I realized something simple: thoughts are not commands. They are not facts. They are just suggestions your mind throws at you, and you're the one who decides whether to pick them up or leave them lying on the floor. And the moment I realized I could choose which thoughts to trust and which to ignore, everything began to change. I remember one evening. Late autumn, the dim warm light of a kitchen lamp, silence, the refrigerator humming somewhere in the background. I sat staring into a cup of tea, feeling a familiar wave rising inside me, the one that says, "You messed up again." Before, it would have swallowed me whole. I would have drowned in those words, believed them instantly, like always. But that night, for the first time, I looked at that thought and told myself, it's just a thought. Not a fact. Not reality. Just a noise in my head. And in that moment I felt something like freedom. Not global, not final, just a small breakthrough. Like someone cracked open a window in a stuffy room. I understood: if I want to become more confident, I need to learn to control where my attention goes. To feel that my mind is not a dictator, but a tool. And that I can pick it up and use it. With time, I realized that confidence isn't loud words or a sense of power. It doesn't come from victories or recognition. Confidence is a quiet inner voice that says, "I'll handle it." Not, "I'm perfect," not, "I'm better than everyone," but, "I can figure this out." And that voice appears only when you stop running from your thoughts and start learning how to work with them. Like with noisy kids, don't believe every hysterical scream, just calmly ask what's actually going on. To be honest, I didn't come to this through books or seminars. I came through pain. There's one moment I still see vividly. I had just lost my job, suddenly, sharply, like someone kicked the chair out from under me. Almost no money, tons of responsibilities, and I felt like my life had collapsed into a tiny point. I remember sitting at a bus stop late at night, wet pavement, not a single car. I stared at the ground, and one phrase echoed in my head: "You're useless." That was the moment when something inside me really cracked. I looked at my shoes and thought, that's it. I'm done. And don't even ask where the strength came from, I wish I knew myself. But suddenly I told myself, okay, fine. But what can I do today? Not, what will I do eventually, not, how do I escape this mess, but today. One step. The smallest one. I came home, opened my laptop, and sent just one email. One. Then another. A week later I had an interview. A month later, another job. Not ideal, not a dream, but I climbed out of that hole. And you know what mattered most? Not the job. Not the money. It was the realization that movement begins when you stop waiting for perfect conditions and just do something. One step. Half a step. That was the moment when I first felt the taste of real confidence. Not the kind that screams, "I'm the best," but the kind that whispers, "I can start again." Over time I noticed something: the mind is a muscle. Not in a poetic metaphorical way, literally. And if you don't train it, it becomes weak. It defaults to negativity, doubt, familiar fears. But if you do even one small mental practice every day, your thinking starts to reshape itself. For example, switching. My main life hack. When a thought pops up, I can't do this, I don't try to suppress it. I just ask myself, okay, but what can I do right now? It doesn't erase the fear, but it removes the paralysis. And that's enough to keep moving. And here's another story. Not dramatic, but important. I decided to start running. Just regular running, nothing heroic. But on the first day I was gasping for air after 3 minutes. 3. I was sure it was a failure. That I was hopeless. That I wasn't capable of anything. But I forced myself to go out again. And again. And every time I came home, I felt a strange pride. Not because I ran far. But because I did what I promised myself. That's where real confidence is born, when your actions match your words. When you don't betray yourself. Even in small things. Even in a 3-minute run. I've realized one thing, confidence is silence inside. It's when you stop chasing approval. Stop doubting everything. Stop living by thoughts that other people planted in your head long ago. You learn to hear your own voice. And that's the most powerful thing there is. Today, I know, thoughts are just guests. They come and go. Some are noisy, some are heavy, some try to stay forever. But now I know how to choose whom to open the door for, and whom to say, sorry, not today. And if you're listening to this now and thinking that things are hard for you, if confidence feels like a luxury you can't afford, then start with one thing. Don't try to fix your whole life at once. You don't need to. Start small, catch just one thought, name it, and don't let it control your day. Take one action, even the smallest one. Give yourself a chance at a tiny win. That's the path. The path to inner strength that doesn't depend on praise, likes, or anyone else's opinion. You can become more confident. You can control your mind. It's not a myth. It's not a gift. It's a choice. Today. Now. In this very moment. And once you take that first step, even the smallest one, you'll feel that everything around you begins to shift. Because the person inside you has started to change.